वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णो वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णो वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् ॐ श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु. Pranams from Dr. R.J. Kalpana. Welcome to the study of the Bhagavad Gita. In this session, we will commence the study of Chapter 9, RajaVidyaRahaGuhya, the Yoga of the Sovereign Science and the Sovereign Secret. At the beginning of Chapter 7, Krishna imparted to Arjuna the knowledge of Nirguna Brahma and Saguna Brahma, the unmanifested reality and the manifested divinity. And then he went on to define the meaning of terms like Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, Adibhuta, Adidaiva, and Adiyajna. In Chapter 8, further elaborating on these terms, Krishna goes on to describe the path that a soul takes after it leaves the mortal coil. For ordinary people, for people who walk on the path of yoga, the yogis, and even for the yogis who work towards the yogic science with an interested, selfish motives. So having described the paths the soul undertakes after it leaves the gross body, Krishna finally speaks about fixing one's mind and intellect on the divine at the hour of death. And so now we come to Chapter 9, where once again Krishna reveals further information and further knowledge about the absolute and the embodied aspects of the divine, the unmanifest and the manifest aspects of the divine. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Shrimad Bhagavad Gita Atha Navamodhyayah RajaVidyaRahaGuhyaYoga, the Yoga of the Sovereign Science and the Sovereign Secret. Shloka 1. Shri Bhagavan said, "To you who are devoid of the carping spirit, I shall now unfold the most secret knowledge of Nirguna Brahma, along with the knowledge of manifest divinity, knowing which you shall be free from the evil of worldly existence." Now Krishna here addresses Arjuna as one who is free from the carping spirit. In Sanskrit, the word is anasuyavete, you who are uncarping, anasuya. The meaning of this word, asuya, is that one who does not take delight in the faults of others, who finds merit, who finds something good to say about everyone, who does not take any joy in belittling other people. This is great etiquette that one must show while walking on the path of spirituality. That one must always speak gently, speak with kindness and compassion, understanding that everybody has their own burden of samskaras that they need to carry, that they need to work out in this lifetime or unfortunately in the coming lifetimes as well. And Krishna, consciously aware of the etiquette that Arjuna has displayed so far, out of a burst of generosity, he says, I shall now indulge in revealing the most secret knowledge of the unmanifested reality along with the knowledge of the manifested divinity. Knowing that knowledge, one will be free from the illusions of this world, and one will finally understand and realize the purpose of a human life. Shloka 2. This knowledge of both the nirguna and saguna aspects of divinity is a sovereign science, a sovereign secret, supremely holy, most excellent, directly enjoyable, attended with virtue, very easy to practice, and imperishable. So here Krishna talks about the knowledge of the absolute formless Brahma along with the knowledge of the divine, which has a form with attributes. Which, having known this knowledge, it ennobles one's character and prompts one, inspires one to act accordingly, thereby ensuring an easier path towards the divine. Shloka 3. Arjuna, people having no faith in this dharma, failing to reach me, revolve in the path of the world of death. Now Krishna presents to us the other side of the coin and says those who do not understand, those who have a limited intellect, and those who fail to understand the purpose of a human life and thereby make no attempts to merge with the divine, they continuously revolve in this world of death. they keep coming and going with endless, countless births and death, a never-ending cycle. Shloka 4. The whole of this universe is permeated by me as unmanifest divinity, and all beings rest on the idea within me. Therefore, really speaking, I am not present in them. Let us understand this seemingly complicated statement. The whole of this universe is permeated by me as the unmanifest divinity, meaning that the divine principle is the substratum on which the entire cosmic universe is built upon. And all creatures, living and otherwise, rest on them and therefore rest within the divine, within that divine principle. Therefore, really speaking, I am not present in them. Now, the I am not present in them concept, meaning that though permeating every atom of this universe, just as the atmosphere permeates every atom of the cloud, the divine is beyond the universe. The divine does not take on the attributes of the universe. The atmosphere does not take on the attributes of a cloud. And therefore, Krishna says, I am not present in them. And yet, they rest in me. The entire living cosmic universe and non-living cosmic universe rests on the idea of the divine principle. Shloka 5. Nay, all those beings abide not in me, but behold the wonderful power of my divine yoga. Though the sustainer and creator of beings, myself in reality dwells not in those beings. Now once again he is continuing with the same thought as before and saying that by the power of my divine yoga, by the divine potency of Yoga Maya, I am the creator and sustainer of the universes. And yet, they do not exist in him, and nor does he exist in them. So, again, what Krishna is saying here is that although the divine is present, is omniscient and omnipresent and is omnipotent, and yet the living creatures, the sentients and the insentient beings have forms and have taken on an independent attributes which are far removed from the divine. And therefore, he says, they have an independent existence. They can seek to walk towards me, or they can continue to remain independent of me. Shloka 6. Just as the extensive air which is moving everywhere, being born of ether, ever remains in ether, likewise know that all beings who have originated from my thought abide in me. So here he gives an example of how air, which has its origin in ether, It stays in ether and then it disappears in ether, but it also has an independent existence of air, which has a quality. So, like the ether, the divine is immutable, and like air, all the sentient beings spring from this divine. Since the emanation, existence, and dissolution of beings are events that take place only in the thought of the divine, or rather, as part of the laws of creation, the whole multitude of beings exist, and yet the divine is entirely beyond the qualities of the attributes of these sentient beings. Shloka 7. Arjuna, during the final dissolution of all beings, enter my Prakriti, and at the beginning of creation I send them forth again. And so therefore, as we looked at the earlier chapter, the day of Brahma is known as a kalpa, and therefore Krishna says that at the time of dissolution, the entire creation gets drawn back into the unmanifested reality. And at the time of creation, all the souls who still carry forth their samskaras, who have still not merged with the divine, all those souls once again are brought forth and take on a human form. Shloka 8. Wielding my nature, I release again and again, according to their respective karmas, all this multitude of beings subject to the influence of their own nature. So here what Krishna says is that wielding my nature, meaning Prakritim, Prakriti, the world of nature, the Yoga Maya, through which the universe has been created. Wielding that potency according to their respective samskaras, I bring forth the creation again and again. Because as long as these jivas, the individual souls, are under the influence of their own nature, meaning their own samskaras, they are still subject to be born in a human dimension. Shloka 9. Arjuna, those actions, however, do not bind me, unattached as I am to such actions and standing apart as it were. And therefore Krishna here says that these actions of bringing forth creation and withdrawing creation, they might be constituted as actions, and yet they do not generate any samskaras, because I am beyond that. Shloka 10. Arjuna, with me as the supervisor, nature brings for the whole creation, consisting of both sentient and insentient beings. It is due to this cause that the wheel of samsara is going round. So Krishna says that he stands as a supervisor and wielding the divine potency of Yoga Maya, All the sentient and insentients are brought forth time and time again, and that's how the wheel of samsara keeps moving. Shloka 11. Fools, not knowing my supreme nature, think low of me, the overlord of the entire creation, who have put on the human semblance. And so here he comes back within his own time period of the Mahabharata, and he says that people not realizing that I am the Absolute, I have descended from the center, from the unmanifested reality. I have taken forth the manifested divinity aspect of having a form with attributes, and not understanding this reality, they think that I am an ordinary human being just like them. Shloka 12. Those bewildered persons with vain hopes, futile actions, and fruitless knowledge have embraced a fiendish, demoniacal, and delusive nature. And so these people who fail to see the divine in Krishna, their hopes are vain, their actions are futile, and their knowledge is fruitless, because they walk on the path of delusions. They are so entrapped in the world of illusions. Shloka 13. On the other hand, Arjuna, great souls who have embraced the divine nature, knowing me as the prime source of all lives and the imperishable, eternal, worship me constantly with none else in mind. So here Krishna says that Arjuna, those enlightened souls who have embraced their divine nature, so those souls who have achieved enlightenment of God realization, self-realization, who have not only understood the presence of the divine principle within them, are also able to see the divine in others. They understand me as the prime source of all lives, as that which is eternal, imperishable, and immutable, and therefore they worship me constantly with their mind and intellect focused on Krishna. And Shloka 14. Constantly chanting my names and glories, and striving for my realization, and bowing again and again to me, those devotees of firm resolve, ever united with me through meditation, worship me with single-minded devotion. And so here Krishna references a few different manners, ways in which the devotees approach him. One, Nama Japa, constantly chanting my names. Another, Bhajan Kirtana, the glories of Krishna, striving for my realization, always conscious, wanting to realize the God within themselves, wanting a glimpse of that divine presence within, and bowing again and again to me, going to temples and bowing to the form of the divine. Those devotees who are unshakable in their resolve, they who also meditate upon me with single-minded focus, they can attain union with me, merge with the divine. Shloka 15. Others betake themselves to me through their offering of knowledge, worshipping me as one with themselves, while still others worship me in my universal form in many ways, taking me as manifested in diverse celestial forms. So here Krishna talks about those who follow the path of Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. They, through their intellect, offer and understand the causative purposes of the divine. Others worship in the form of a god with attributes and as manifested in diverse celestial forms. So here we need to understand that the highest form, what Krishna is saying in this shloka is that there are four types of forms. There are four forms of the divine. One is the para form, which is the unmanifested, the omniscient state, the unmanifested reality. Then we have the Vyuha, which is the cosmic form, the Virata Rupa, Vishwarupa Darshana of the divine. Then we have the Vibhava state. The Vibhava is manifestation in diverse celestial forms, meaning that every avatara Purusha of the divine, Narasimha, Vamana, Rama, Krishna, and then the Archa, which is the manifested idols. It has been our tradition that sages and kings have been blessed with the vision of the divine in a certain form, and they, accepting the reality of that vision, have gone forth and built temples and consecrated idols in that particular vision in which the divine has made an appearance to them, which are called the Archaka Murtis. And finally we have the Antaryamin, the inner witness, the divine presence that is inside of every jiva, of every soul. So there are many ways in which people can approach the divine. Sloka 16. I am the Vedic ritual, I am the sacrifice, I am the offering to the departed, I am the herbage and food grains, I am the sacred formula, I am the clarified butter, I am the sacred fire, and I am verily the act of offering oblations into the fire. So here, in order to make it clear how the worship of the Absolute and that of the celestials is regarded, Krishna goes on to establish every aspect of that form of worship as being nothing but himself. So he says, the ritual that you all perform, the Vedic rituals, the very ritual, it is the divine. So I am the Vedic ritual. The sacrifices that we make, the sacrifice of the food items, the sacrifice, the charities that we give, I am the sacrifice. I am the offering to the departed, the tarpana, the shraddha aspects of rituals and rites that we undertake. I am those offerings. I am the herbage and the food grains. I am the sacred formula. And the sacred formula is all these mantras that we recite during the Vedic rituals. I am the clarified butter that we offer into the fire. I am the sacred fire itself. And then finally he says, the very act, even the act of offering oblations into this fire, the very act itself is the divine. So he constitutes the sacred fires known as Garhapatya, Ahavaniya, Dakshinagni, and so on, that are used in these sacrifices. So every aspect of a ritual, every form, utterance, offering, the act of offering itself is nothing but the divine. Shloka 17. I am the sustainer and the ruler of this universe, its father, mother, and grandfather, the one worth knowing, the purifier, the sacred syllable Om, and the three Vedas, Rik, Yajur, and Sama. And so here Krishna says that Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhu sakha tvameva, tvameva vidya dravina tvameva. So here he says that I am that sacred syllable Om, which is the vibration of the cosmos. It is that frequency, that vibrational frequency, which we all have to tune into eventually, sooner or later. I am the only knowledge that is worth knowing. I sustain this universe, I have created this universe, and therefore I am its father, I am its mother, and I am the Vedas that I have given you. Shloka 18. I am the supreme goal, supporter, Lord, witness, abode, refuge, well-wisher, seeking no return, origin and end, resting place, storehouse, and the imperishable seed. And so here Krishna says that he has brought forth creation. He has seeded the entire cosmos. He has seeded every sentient and insentient being. So he is that imperishable seed, and he is also the goal that we all need to attain. He is the home which we all have to return to sooner or later. Sloka 19. I radiate heat as the sun and hold back as well as send forth showers, Arjuna. I am immortality as well as death. Even so, I am being and non-being both. And so therefore Krishna here says that I am the heat of the sun that gives life and sustains life on this planet, and I'm also the showers of rain that helps the creation to continue to spring forth and continue. Every science space project of ours in modern day is said to locate water in other planets, because if there is water, then life can be sustained. And therefore Krishna says, I am that heat of the sun, and I am also the rain. I am immortality as well as death. I am that immortal principle, that immutable, eternal principle, and all we need to do is merge with that divine. Then we too seek, we too become immortal. I am death, and if we fail in achieving that goal, we are once again subject to the burden of our samskaras and doomed to be born again and again and again in the human dimension. And then he says, I am being and non-being as well. It is not necessary that we should all come back as human beings. Depending on how terrible our samskaras are, or how good and excellent our samskaras are, we can even be banished to a state of non-being. We can be banished to a state of vegetative, mineral composition as well. Om Yogesho Satchidanandam Vasudevam Rajapriyam Dharma Samstapakam Viram Krishno Vande Jagat Gurum. Shri Krishno Vande Jagat Gurum. Om Shri Krishnarpanamastu.